As the Los Angeles riots have sparked protest around the country, how does the reaction to the National Guard's presence in California compare to that of Texas, where Governor Abbott is deploying troops? Joining me now to discuss these latest developments is host of No Spin News, Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me in, Steve.
It's great to have you back, Bill. So let's start with the unrest in Los Angeles, now spreading throughout the country, for that matter. What would you say the media is ultimately failing to cover about this?
I think they're hyping it up. It doesn't seem to be an organic display of protest. That means that it doesn't have a constituency among regular people. The Los Angeles protesters were fueled by very militant far-left organizations that passed out masks and frozen water bottles and other forms of protection for the protesters. Same thing in New York. This is all organized by the far left, but the people aren't coming out. In fact, on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock in New York, everybody went home. In fact, I guess they were hungry. So this is kind of contrived, and the media hoped it would explode into something more so that Trump would look bad, but that doesn't seem to have been the case.
Now, as the protests do continue to spread throughout different states, I want to contrast some of the different responses we're seeing. You have Attorney General Pam Bondi asked about if Trump will step in other cities. Here's her response.
But what happened in New York was very different. NYPD came in right away. NYPD came in and shut it down. We all believe in peaceful protests. You saw New York. There were peaceful protests happening in New York. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to keep California safe if the government of California is not going to help them.
Bill, we're also seeing right now in Texas, the governor there, Greg Abbott, preemptively deploying the state's National Guard to San Antonio ahead of this weekend's protests. How does the response of local authorities shape the outcome of the unrest?
Well, I think Ms. Bondi made a very valid point that in California, Governor Newsom wanted these demonstrations to explode so he could use that as a political cudgel against Trump and elevate himself into a left-wing candidate for president in 28. And let me back that up. So when you have the police chief of Los Angeles in a press conference saying, we're outmanned, we can't control the violence, the fires on the cars, the throwing objects at our own police and ICE agents, we can't control it. And you don't have the governor immediately sending the National Guard down to help the LAPD, then you know the governor doesn't care or wants it to explode. And that's what I believe Newsom did. In New York, they didn't want it to explode, and it's easier to control it here because the city is so claustrophobic, and the cops know how to do this, and they did a good job. So they didn't give the miscreants a lot of room to set anything on fire or things like that, and you didn't need the federal presence. So each situation is different. As far as Texas is concerned, I mean, Governor Abbott is a conservative guy. He's going to hotshot the issue. I'm not criticizing him. San Antonio is kind of volatile. I don't know whether I would have done it. I would have had to look and see what the local police situation is and what the state police presence would be. But no downside for Abbott. His constituency wants a tough guy approach, and that's what he did.
Now, the California governor obviously blaming Trump for deploying the National Guard, along with a lot of media. Let's take a look at what he said.
This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began.
So we have two different frames of logic, understandings. One that the National Guard calmed the violence in LA, and the other that it inflamed it. How can we evaluate which one is true?
Well, how many cars have been set on fire since the Guard got there?
Fair point.
That would be none. No, look, Newsom, anybody clear thinking, fair, who believes that Gavin Newsom is telling the truth, what are you going to do? I mean, he is an opportunist, totally incompetent, will say and do anything to get political power, and that's what is on display. This is a big loss for Newsom. I told that to Sean Hannity on his radio program. Newsom isn't gaining any traction here at all. The far left kooks that like him are, okay. But regular folks, they know what he is. And he just keeps reinforcing that over and over and over.
Bill, lastly, while the protests are now expanding across the country, it appears, into the weekend, the United States Army is hosting a grand military parade to celebrate its 250th anniversary birthday. What do you make of the timing of these protests, and could it be priming Americans to view the parade as an authoritarian move? And what are you expecting to come out of this weekend?
Well, most Americans support the U.S. military, so that's not going to work. I hope it's a peaceful demonstration of respect toward the Army on its 250th anniversary. I suspect it will be. D.C. is a fairly easy place to control violence in a mass demonstration form. You've got to have a license to protest down there. You got a lot of federal agencies involved, Secret Service, FBI, a whole bunch of people. They'll be ready. And I don't think the protests are going to get anywhere near the parade site. So I'm not real worried about that. And I don't believe that this ICE protest is going to carry on until next week. I think it's going to die out. I could be wrong on that, Steve, but it doesn't look like it has legs to me.
Host of No Spin News, Bill O'Reilly, appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me.